a little trick here. So for you'll notice here for this mirror imaging mode in the images here, you have a 6x6 arcsecond box. This is obviously not the size of the mirror imaging field of view. It's much larger than this, but to save computation time and because most of the time you're looking at single sources anyway, we make a tiny little box, a default box for these sources. But for some of the modes that aren't already constrained in size, such as the IFU, the near-spec IFU, which is 3x3 arcseconds, there's no way to expand that out. That's the fixed size of the actual aperture. But for these larger fields of view, you can actually expand out the box to be larger than what you see here. So this is using scene 1. So if I go to scene 1 here, we have one source. I'm going to add another source to scene 1, adding source 6 to it, and it automatically places it in the center, but I can offset it to, let's put it at 10 arcseconds in X and 10 arcseconds in Y. So you can see that in the scene sketch, this expanded out, and if I click save, and go back to the calculations, it's rerunning all the calculations that make use of the scene. And for the mirror imaging, we now see that because I've placed this other source farther out, I've forced the size of the scene that's calculated to be larger, right? So now it's 20 arcseconds on a side to account for this source that's somewhere out here, right? It's really faint because I haven't renormalized it. I don't care about that source, right? I care about the source that's in the center. But if I have a much larger source in here that would otherwise fill the small default box, I can use this trick to expand the size and see more of the source. So let's do that really quickly for the default source. Let's make it extended. Just say flat for now and make it, say it's 7 arcseconds. So it's a big source. This will be larger than the default mirror imaging scene. And obviously, when you increase the size of the scene, it's going to take a little bit longer to calculate because it's running through a larger scene. But you can see this, right? You get the whole source inside. There's the tiny source in the corner. If instead I go and I remove this source from the scene, right, you get the scene sketch shrinks. I'll click save. And when we take a look, right, it's already recalculated it. You just get, the whole box is full, right? This is 6 arcseconds by 6 arcseconds, but the source is 7 arcseconds across. So it's less useful than when I added that other source in to force the box to be larger. We do have information in JDocs on which modes allow for this stretching and which ones are fixed at the default value. For most cases, the imaging modes can expand, whereas the spectroscopy modes cannot expand. And it gives the sizes that you can use. Like the maximum size you can have, I think, is 35 arcseconds on a side. And that's for the nearest WIFS mode. Yeah, so I just wanted to present that as well while we were talking about extended sources. The resources that are available when working with the ETC, when you're trying to troubleshoot, when you're trying to figure out what could be going wrong or how do I implement this specific, something specific in the ETC. We have an extensive JDocs suite of pages. You can access that here, clicking on the user guide. It'll take you to the main page, and on the left there are other pages to go to, other landing pages with sub pages underneath them. They're all connected throughout with links within the text as well. So you can worm your way through and find the information you're looking for that way. We have the context-sensitive help links, which take you directly to relevant information. We also have the videos in YouTube. This is being recorded, so you can always watch this over again later. And then there's, of course, the help desk is always available. As I said, we're required to respond within 2 business days. Right now, we can respond much quicker. We're getting fewer help calls. But as things start to ramp up closer to the end of October, we're going to become swamped with help desk tickets. So if you have basic questions about ETC usage, now is the time to get them in. Play around with it now. Things get very busy later on. Last cycle, we had about 45,000 calculations a day in the lead up to the deadline, and that makes the ETC a little more sluggish. Just a caveat there: if you see, and this information is included on the caveats and limitations. If you're seeing slow behavior, don't keep pushing the button, right? Don't keep creating more workbooks. Don't keep trying to calculate things again. That's only going to make the matter worse, right? You're queuing up more things that have to be done by the ETC, and it's going to slow it down even further.